welcome back to the Lingerie Society YouTube channel. We've got another new project for you guys today. This one's a little bit different. It's not lingerie, it's more loungewear. We've called it the Maker Sweater, and I'm going to show you why. We're going to get a little bit creative with some applique. Let's get started. Okay, so with your Maker Sweater, you're going to receive these templates, and these are going to form our design on the front of our sweater. You can see you've got Maker and then you've got your love heart. Now, when you're printing these out, this is the size that they will print 100% scale on A4, but you can shrink or increase your printing size to fit what you want. So have a look at your front of your sweater. These letters measure about 8 centimeters high. If you think they're going to be too big, if you're of a smaller size, then maybe reduce them. Reduce it to 70 or 80%. If you feel like they're a little bit small, same thing. You can blow them up. Maybe try 120%. Similarly with the heart, you could use the outside. I'm going to use the outside outline on mine, but if you're a smaller person or you want a smaller heart, you could use the inside line, or you could shrink it down or increase it to change the size. I'd recommend just printing it at 100%, laying it on the front of your sweater and just seeing how you like that size. So the first thing we're going to do is to trace out our letters and our heart onto our Vlisafix. If you haven't used Vlisafix before, it's this amazing paper creation. It's basically a double-sided adhesive. So when you feel it, the rough side is the glue. So you're going to want to apply that glue to the back of your fabric. Then you peel away the paper and you have your letter ready to adhere to your sweater front. The thing you need to be mindful of here is that you need to mirror your letters so that once you flip them over, they're going to be the right way round. So the way that I've done that is simply just to turn my template over. I did this on a white background so that the letters would shine through, and then lay your paper, your applique paper, over the top and trace them out. So you can see on this dark surface you can't see, but on a white surface it was actually really easy to do. You could also trace around your letters with a black Sharpie to make them more bold. So remember, flip it over, place your Vlisafix rough side down and trace out your letters. Then, because each one of our letters is going to be out of a different fabric, I also traced my heart. You don't need to mirror that because it's symmetrical. So I'm just going to cut up my Vlisafix so that I've got one piece for each letter. We're working with some beautiful Liberty print cottons for our applique today. So you will find in your kit you've got these smaller pieces which are for your letters. So have a think about your layout, which print you want to go with next to which print. So I've got these ones to work with. I probably don't want those two next to each other because they're very similar color palette, and then these are more pinky. So I'm going to switch it around. I'm going to bring that one over here and that one in there. And I quite like how that looks, so that's the order I'm going to go with. So I'm sorry for the noise. We're having a bathroom renovated and they're doing some tile cutting downstairs. The other thing you'll need to think about is your print. So this one obviously is a directional print, so it needs to be the right way up. So place your letter onto the back of your fabric, rough side down, and press. Fix is a pretty amazing product. You'll see it doesn't take too much pressing and that's completely adhered. I'm going to move on to my next letter. And so on and so on. With some of your bigger prints, you might want to just play around with the placement a little bit. I just want to make sure I get a lot of different colors in this one. Now, the only thing you need to be conscious of with the Fix, do not touch the glue with your iron because it will stick to it. Okay, and last but not least, the R. It's really easy to tell which is the glue side. It's rough. You won't get confused. You'll be fine. And then finally, our heart. Just going to give that a quick press. Oh, this is going to be super cute. Okay, so once you've pressed everything, you've got all your letters adhered to your Fix, you need to go ahead and cut them out. I'm going to do that and I will come back to you. Okay, now I've got all my letters cut out. I'm going to play around with the layout. I thought I would kind of like to have my letters curved around. You could also have them straight across. You could run them down the side. You can really take creative license with this and do whatever you want. But I'm thinking I'm going to do something like that. So what I might do is start with my K because that's going to be my central element. Oh gosh, this is going to be very tricky with acrylic nails, but bear with me. What you need to do is peel the paper backing off. You'll feel if the glue has adhered properly because it's a little bit shiny. And you can feel the paper is just paper. All that glue has adhered to the back of your fabric. So I'm going to center that. That looks pretty good to me. Let me just do a bit of a, I need to come this way slightly. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now, once you've laid it in place, just simply press it again. I've got my iron on a cotton setting and you can see that has adhered. Okay, just going to move it up a bit because next I'm going to apply my heart so that I can make sure my other letters mimic the curve of the heart. Can be pretty tricky to get the paper to start peeling, but once you get the first bit off, it's easy. Okay, so I think I want my heart about there. Just going to check from my side seam. Yeah, that's pretty perfect. Okay. Press in place. Okay, and then I just need to do my other letters. If you haven't used Fix before, you're going to just think that this stuff is magic. And it really is. It's such a great invention. It just makes applique so easy. And then anybody with any kind of machine can do it, because you can finish the edge however you want. You could just run a straight stitch around and let the edge fray, or you can do a zigzag, and that zigzag can be as close or as open as you want it to be. You could use a blanket stitch, a satin stitch. You could do it by hand if you wanted to, if you were far more patient than I am. Or some of you might have an embroidery machine that you can do a beautiful finish on. I think I'm going to lay all my remaining letters on before I press, just to get a really good idea of where everything is going to sit. I've got my two central pieces. And like I said, you could play around with this design and do whatever you want with it. You could even put the lettering on the back. You could put it down the sleeve. You could change it up if you don't want to put the heart on. You could put a different symbol or no symbol at all. You can really customize this one and make it your own, because you're the maker. How good is that? Okay, I've never tried to peel Fix off with acrylic nails before. Heads up, it's tricky. So I wanted to do this pattern something a little bit different, a little bit of a venture away from lingerie, but not too far. I really like to have a cool jumper that I can wear at home with pajamas, or I can wear it on the weekend with jeans. And I had this idea to have maker on a jumper, and I thought, how do I want to do that? How do I want those letters to be? And I thought, Liberty. That's what I want. I want them to be Liberty. There's so many great prints, and you'll see we've done quite a few different kits for this, so you can really choose a colorway that speaks to you and your making. Oh gosh, if you haven't fast forwarded through me trying to peel this off yet, you're a superstar. Got it. Okay. Sorry if that was immensely frustrating. Now, I'm going to use my ruler to determine how far down my letters come. I'm not going to worry too much about measurements, but I want it to look right, pleasing to the eye. I think that's pretty good. Okay. All right, our applique is ready to go. Now I'm going to jump over to the machine. I think what I'm going to do to finish around the edge of my letters is a small zigzag. Like I said, you could blanket stitch, you could satin stitch, you could just run a straight stitch around, whatever you want to do. This is your make, you can make it however you want. So I'm going to do a small zigzag. I'm going to head over to the machine. The other thing you want to think about at the moment is your thread color. I think I'm going to match it to my fabric. I don't want my stitching to be the feature. I want my fabric to be the feature. So I'm going to match my thread to my backing fabric. You can make the stitching a feature. I think this would also be really nice. Just a biggish straight stitch in white. It's really up to you. Like I said, it's your make. So let's go and sew. Okay, so I'm going to do a zigzag, but I think I'm gonna make it quite a small one. I think that looks pretty good. Let's give it a go. I'm going to start on the love heart because it's the biggest, it's the easiest. Let's see how it goes. I want to put my needle down so I can pivot. One of the things I really like about the Creative 3.0 is that lift foot feature. So if you've got your needle in a needle down position, it will lift just ever so slightly so that you can pivot. And then when you touch the foot pedal again, the foot lowers. Okay, pretty cute. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch the rest of my letters now. Okay, our applique is done. How cool is that? Okay, now we can start to assemble our jumper. Our sweater, I should say. So, step one, take your back, right sides together with your front, and we're going to stitch the shoulder seams. Now you can do this, I'm going to do this purely on my overlocker. I have a 4-thread overlocker. You could also use your machine, just use your stretch stitch. So that is step one, sew your shoulder seams. Once you've got your shoulder seams done, we're going to insert the sleeve. So I do this flat. So take your sleeve, find your center, pin. I've got a pin when I need one. Mark the center and simply lay that on your sleeve head. Pin the center in place, like so. And then I'm just going to use my overlocker to sew it in. Again, you could use the stretch stitch on your machine or your overlocker, whatever you've got. It really doesn't matter with these sort of knits. The overlocker just finishes it off. Do not sew over your pin on your overlocker. Okay, sleeve, and repeat for the other side. So find your center, mark that with your pin, pin that into place, and stitch. These French terries do curl a little bit, so you just got to kind of flatten it out before you sew. Now your sleeves are in, and then the next step, I'm just going to lower this a little bit, is to sew your underarm and your side seams. So I do that all in one go. So right sides together, just pin your underarm together. You could put more pins in here, but honestly you don't need to. The fabric's really stretchy, just line it up as you go. Okay. Other side. Again, just match your underarm seam. Start at your cuff. again, you could do this whole step using the stretch stitch on your machine. Okay, let's turn it right side out and have a look. Starting to look like a jumper, a sweater, I should say. Okay, so now we need to apply the ribbing. Okay, let me show you how to do that. Okay, so this is my bottom band. So we're just going to put that right sides together, and then we're going to stitch 1.5 in from the end. Same thing with our cuffs. Right sides together, we're going to stitch, and our neckband. Right sides together, we're just going to stitch that end closed. Okay, now we've got our bands stitched closed. Let's talk about applying them to our garment. So we're going to fold in half. So this is the bottom band. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark halfway. So just match up your seam and put a pin in the other side where halfway is. Like that, and then turn it the other way and match up those 2 points and mark 1/4 and 3/4. Now we do this just so you get an even distribution of ribbing all the way around, because you don't want to have a really tight front and a loose back, or the opposite. You want the even distribution all the way around. So then we're also going to do the same on our jumper. We've already got the side seams marked because we've got our side seams, but we're just going to mark halfway between the front and halfway between the back. And then we'll pin our ribbing on. So start with your seam. You want that to be at your side seam. And then your other side seam. Your center front point. And your center back point. Now I find that is enough pins for me, but you could certainly pop a couple more pins in the front and a couple in the back if you want to. I find that's enough for me to just stretch as I go for it to be even. Now I'm going to sew this with a straight stitch on my machine, and then I'm going to overlock to finish. also going to go ahead and top stitch my band down. So I'm going to change to a 3mm stitch. Okay, so just my cuffs to go. Okay, I've just trimmed off all my threads and my maker sweater is done. I might try it on and show you guys what it looks like. Okay, here it is, the maker sweater. I hope you guys enjoy making this and wearing it and letting everyone know that you're a maker.